Cowboy Logic, Episode 6, The Quilt That Tells a Story. Back to Cowboy Logic. I'm Ann Dunbar, and today we're stepping into a softer kind of wisdom, one that's close to my heart. Today I want to tell you about a quilt, an ugly, beautiful, precious quilt that's been passed down through 3 generations of women in my family. It's not cowboy logic exactly, it's grandma logic. Mother logic, and the kind of wisdom that gets sewn into fabric and handed down through time. When I was younger, my mama had this quilt on her bed, and I'll be honest, it wasn't pretty. The patches were all different colors that clashed horribly. Blues next to oranges and next to greens and browns that had no business being together. Some pieces were faded and some were bright. Nothing matched. Nothing made sense. I remember asking my mama why she kept it. Why she didn't get a nicer quilt or something that actually looked good. And she told me the story. Her mama, my grandmother, had sewn that quilt, and every single patch came from a piece of clothing that one of her 10 children had outgrown. It was a shirt, a pair of jeans, a dress, or some shorts. As each child grew, my grandmother would take a piece of cloth from something they'd worn and loved and used up, and she'd sewn it into the quilt. Year after year, child after child, until finally all 10 kids had grown up and moved away. That quilt was the story of her children, the fabric of their lives literally woven together. My grandmother kept that quilt on her bed until she died. Then my mama kept it on hers, and now I have it. On my bed right now, the quilt needs mending. Time and love have worn it thin in places, and I haven't been able to fix it yet. So I keep it in an airtight bag, safe and protected. But I pull it out sometimes just to look at it, to hold it, to remember the story my mama told me. The specific pieces, which patch belonged to which aunt or uncle, the history is lost now. I don't know which blue came from my mama's shirt or which green was her brother's, but the story's still there. The love is still there. I don't have children to pass it on, so I've told my cousin that one day this quilt will be hers, and I've asked her to pass it on to her children. She was touched, and, she understood what it meant, because it's more than a quilt. It's a story of a family, a mother's love for her children, sewn one patch at a time. I think about that quilt. Every book I write is made up of pieces that should fit together. A cowboy with a broken past. A woman running from something she can't escape. Pain and joy. Loss and hope. Soft touches and fierce protection. Pieces that clash. Pieces that don't match on the surface. But when I sew them together, when I weave the plot and the characters and the emotions into something whole, they create a story. A perfect story. Not a pristine, matching magazine cover story, but a real one. One that's been lived in and loved and used. One that tells the truth about what it means to be human. Gabriel and Jeb are patches from my daddy. His strength, his love, and his refusal to quit. Ivy, Anya, and Bet carry patches from my mama, her gentleness and her wisdom. The pain and the villains, those are patches from my own life. From my loss and grief and survival. And somehow when I stitch it all together, it becomes something worth keeping, something worth passing on. Grandmother didn't make that quilt to be beautiful by anyone else's standards. She made it to hold the pieces of her children's lives, to keep them close even after they'd all grown and moved on. My mama kept it because it was love made tangible, and I keep it for the same reason. And one day I'll pass it on. That's what stories are too. They're not meant to be perfect. They're meant to be true. To hold the pieces of lives lived, the messy, clashing, beautiful pieces, and stitch them into something that can be passed on. Something that says, we were here, we loved, and we mattered. This wisdom isn't really cowboy logic, it's quilt logic. The pieces don't have to match. They just have to tell the truth. Thanks for spending this time with me today. Every episode of Cowboy Logic is a little piece of my life, stitched together and shared with you. My books, Starting Over in Montana, Anya's Salvation, and Bet's Christmas Gamble, well, they're all quilts in their own way. Mismatched pieces sewn together with love. I they keep you warm. Until next time, keep telling your stories. Keep stitching your pieces together. They matter more than you know.